Now we have Patrick Mondi
Yeah,
dropping in. He knows the deal. He knows we're live. He shouted you guys out right away. So good job, Patrick. So he's the CEO at Thoro.ai, which actually is partnered with Big Joe, who we just had here, Bill. So tell us a little bit about. Well, I guess first off, how you doing, Patrick?
real well. It's
Yeah,
good to see you, Kevin. Thanks
yeah.
for the opportunity to meet with you and your listeners.
Definitely happy to have you here. And tell us a little bit about Thoro.ai and what it is that you guys do and bring to the market.
So we build an autonomy stack, and by
Mhm,
that I mean it's the hardware, software, cloud services, and deployment support
mhm,
that help OEMs to make their equipment perform autonomously
mm,
without supervision or intervention. We have two partnerships.
right.
One is with Nilfisk, and we help them make their autonomous scrubber. So it's
Oh,
a
okay.
self-driven scrubber
Yeah.
that Nilfisk sells globally.
Mm,
And our second partnership is the partnership that you just mentioned
Big Joe.
with
Yeah.
Big Joe
Yeah.
that we just announced here at ProMat. And
Exciting.
there's been a
Exciting.
ton of energy,
Yeah.
a lot of excitement over the product and
Mhm.
over the partnership.
Definitely. So we just heard from Bill and Big Joe about the pallet mover and all that stuff. But tell us, I guess, from the the tech side, what Thoro.ai is bringing to that side of the table. Like, how are you supporting that, and how are you making that happen?
Yeah, and I think your listeners will appreciate some of the nuances
Mhm.
in what we've done with them. So, the emphasis of the product was three major themes:
Mhm.
simplicity, train people in 15 minutes or less;
Yeah.
easy configurability, new workflows, and easy mapping, not reliance, all the things that Bill mentioned. And
Right.
so, from a technical side, we took that vision and we worked on the least invasive use of sensors and cameras and LiDAR. And so, when people walk by the booth, we show them that we rely more on vision than I think a lot of people who are doing robotics, and we have only one lidar, and we're able to achieve really, really good results
Right.
and meet the standard for safety certification.
Mm.
So our
Interesting.
technical approach is very, very light and allows us to quickly integrate our technology with OEMs.
Mm.
The project timeline was very short from when we started with Big Joe to bringing it to market. And so our philosophy has always been use technology and as minimally invasive as we can to deliver the results that our end users are
Mhm.
requiring from us.
Oh, very interesting, very interesting. And I think tell us a little bit about the lidar that you mentioned, because you said we're just doing one lidar sensor, right? So tell us how that kind of contrasts maybe to some other solutions that are out there or other setups that are out there.
Yeah. So, given the use case for the
Mhm.
pallet mover, we need to have two-dimensional view from the lidar,
Right.
and so we use a Hokoyu lidar. We really like their safety-rated 2D lidar. Then we have other partners that we used on this project.
Mhm.
Qualcomm's RB5 chip, Carnegie Robotics. We have a very close relationship with them. We were
Right.
spun out of Carnegie
Yeah.
Robotics. They helped us develop and they build
Mhm.
the autonomy kit that has the RB5 on it. They also build the stereo camera that's used on it. So as we look at the use cases here, and we were very intentional about what we were using, so we don't have excess sensors,
Right.
ultrasonics, other technology that could be helpful, but
Mhm.
isn't necessary to meet the use case and deliver the results.
Mm.
And when we look at some of our competitors, they have different use cases. They're using different sensor stacks. I would never, presume to be able to know their thought process behind all of their engineering.
Yeah.
But our approach is go as minimally invasive as possible,
Mm.
do the integration as tightly as possible. There's a lot in autonomy and robotics where you're just kind of duct taping a solution onto an existing platform.
Mm.
That's not how we philosophically approach it. We start very early with engineers at our OEM partners. We look at the product, we get a sense for their vision,
Mhm.
and then we come up with a strategy to really integrate our tech with their tech so that it's truly kind of seamless. We run components of their stack on our equipment so that we don't have duplicate processors, we don't have excess BOM costs. We're just really focused on ensuring that the BOM cost is as minimal as possible. That's our philosophy on robotics, and it aligns really well with how OEMs are looking at it, where they're focused also on BOM cost as low as possible, on manufacturing, industrialization. And it's difficult to do that with a lot of specialty hardware or excessive specialty hardware, and it's also difficult in our experience to do it where you're just kind of adding to an existing platform, kind of putting it on capriciously.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it makes a lot of sense to look at it that way, because even, as you said, the excessive BOM components, right? Yeah, you're kind of increasing that cost too. And a lot of users, especially we're just talking to Bill from Big Joe about this, the accessibility for this like smaller to medium sized businesses, as the cost gets higher and higher, it becomes more of a, like, I don't know if we should do that. So as you start to do that and make it more accessible for people, then I think it enables them and helps them to be able to bring automation into their operation and compete in today's world. So it's really a great way to think about it and a way to execute on it too. I think that makes a lot of sense. So so on the robotics and automation side, I mean, obviously, we're here at ProMat, and anybody that's here or has walked the floor for even I think 10 seconds could make the assessment that there's a lot of robots here, right? So tell us, I guess, from your perspective, what are you seeing in the industry that's exciting to you for robotics, and where do you think a lot of people are kind of heading?
No doubt. There is a lot of robotics here, a lot of automation, and I think it's exciting. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal about the slow adoption of kind of the concept of dark warehousing.
Yeah.
So I think the onus is on robotics to prove its value. I mean, robotics to me is always overpromised and underdelivered. And when we set out with our partnership with Big Joe, we really wanted to focus on changing that narrative, on having a very clear vision and achieving it. But to your point, a lot of trends here at ProMat that I'm observing are fleet management, operating robotics in swarms, interoperability of robots. We have a lot of strategies and offerings along those lines through our cloud app.
Yeah.
We see a lot of other robotics really focusing on that. And I think that trend is going to continue. You wouldn't have seen robotics on a scale basis, interoperability. That's kind of newer trends. Those are healthy because we're operating side by side with a lot of different automation systems, a lot of different robotics providers, and there's benefit to it's just table stakes to users to be able to be a good neighbor and work well with other technologies that are in the warehouse.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's such an interesting point there about the interoperability. So tell us a little bit from your perspective. I mean, where do you think, because I guess for people that are not familiar, interoperability is kind of like just the ability to communicate between different solutions, right? I guess would be the easiest way to put it. Would you agree with me?
Right. Yeah, I think that's well put.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us where, because it's as we have more and more solutions coming to market, and we see them at these shows like popping up like crazy, right? So how important is that for the industry first, and I guess secondly, like, where are we as an industry to making sure that that's something that's definitely happening?
I think it's absolutely critical. We saw it with our partnership with Nelfisk. Facilities managers don't want to have a separate cleaning app, a separate elevator app, a separate, you can go down the list. So we were asked at earlier points in the company's history to integrate and be a good player in hospitals, schools, other sophisticated environments where robots have to operate alongside other automated processes and non-automated processes. So we kind of took that philosophy here, and I think in logistics and warehousing, it's further ahead than other verticals of robotics. And our general approach is to play nice with others, to treat other robots as we would any other obstacle. And of course, that again, to use the phrase table stakes. The other approaches, though, that we're being asked to do, that we see a lot here at ProMat, is kind of air traffic control type mindset, where it's your robots, it's other people's robots. You're part of an end-to-end workflow, and being able to integrate well with that. And that is something that end users are looking for, and that is driving a lot of the themes here that you and I are both observing with interoperability of robots and everything you've mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. All right, interesting stuff, and definitely a really important thing. And I'm glad we can emphasize this here on the show a little bit, the importance of that interoperability, and being able to understand that, if I'm a operator and I'm a shipper, I'm not. There's not going to be probably one company that's going to be able to automate every single process that I do, right? So we need to ensure that we have that interoperability to make sure that, okay, like I can go and get one solution for my truck unloading, and then I can go and get another solution for my put away or my picking, and they can all communicate against each other, right? Like you said, like you don't want to, for the facility side, you don't want an app for the scrubber, you don't want an app for the elevator, so on and so on, right? It just becomes more complex, and you're not really gaining that efficiency overall that you're hoping to do. So really interesting points and insights from you, Patrick. I really appreciate you coming by the booth here. If people want to learn more about Thoro.ai and what you guys do, I mean, what's the easiest way to do that?
Check out our website, www.thoro.ai. We have a lot of material that we're posting on our LinkedIn page as ProMat continues. And Kevin, it is great to see you. I really appreciate the opportunity to catch up. Thanks for talking robots for a little bit.
Definitely. We'd love to do that on the show. So it's no problem here.
Sounds great.
All right, Patrick, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Likewise.
All right. So that was Patrick Mondi. He is the CEO of Thoro.ai, which also have a partnership with Big Joe. I think we have